Okay, so we'll be doing a flight from Vijayawada, which is VOBZ to Vizag, Victor Oscar Victor Zulu, and we'll be flying high altitude airways. And let's set the weather to live. Let's use for live weather. And Vijayawada, the optimal runway for departure would be runway 08, and at Vizag we'll be doing an instrument standard arrival 28 approach. That would be taking us through the beach and aligning with the runway 28 at Vizag. We would be maintaining 20,000 feet mean sea level as our cruise altitude, since the duration of the flight is less. So I'm setting the cruise altitude to 20,000 feet, and flying time of about 20-25 minutes. And yeah, it looks everything is set. Let's fly. So these are the things that I would be ensuring before flight. Number one, I would be doing a flight control check on the elevators and the ailerons, just to make sure everything is good. I would be turning on the weather radar and releasing the parking brake, making sure all the lights are set, and setting the altimeter. So those are some of the things that I would be doing before departure. So just wait for the sim to load so that we can start doing a pre-flight checks and start flying. It's taking a while to load, and it shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes at max, and we should be in the cockpit of the Airbus A320 Neo. Okay, so we are in the sim, ready to fly. So looks Vijayawada is foggy as well. So let me first, change the brightness of the dials so that it's more easily readable. I'm setting the Vijayawada ground altimeter, which is 2977, and yeah, so the other thing that I'll be doing is I'm setting the weather radar. We see here weather plus turbulence, WX plus T, and let's get a preliminary weather report before we depart to Vijayawada. So I'm requesting weather of both source and destination airports as a standard procedure. I'm sending the request, and let's turn on the seatbelt sign. All the lights are good. Let's turn on the wing lights. Everything is set. So I'll increase the brightness of this as well. So let's see the weather report of both Vijayawada and Vizag before departure. So we've got the meter. So Vijayawada is reporting 1 kilometer, 6 kilometers of visibility and 5 knots of winds, no significant clouds, and Vizag is reporting winds of 8 knots, visibility of 5 kilometers. It's haze and fog at Vizag. We have clouds at 2200 feet and a temperature of 34 degrees Celsius, so fairly okay weather to start with. So set for departure and releasing the parking brake, doing a flight control check, radar right, radar left, up, center, down and neutral. Let's go. Stabilized, toga, Manflex toga SRX, runway auto thrust blue. $100 knots. V1, rotate. Positive rate, get up.
Captain 320, contact Tiger Mag Center on 118.3. Good day.
Throttle to climb and reducing the rate of climb.
Hyderabad Center, visit Captain 320 is passing 1,300 feet, climbing 13,000 feet.
Visit Captain 320, Hyderabad Center, altimeter 29.77, continuous plan.
Let's get the flaps up. And let's double check the altitude instructed by ADC. So 13,000 feet is the level, so let's set it up to 13,000 feet. We're on open climb. Let's keep this open so that we'll know where our location is at this particular point of time. So yeah, I'm just keeping this open as well, just in case if you would like to see the location that we're currently at. So we have completed our departure procedure, and we're at 6,000 feet, climbing to 13,000 feet. Since I've passed 10,000 feet and then it's not turbulent, it's safe to switch off the seatbelt sign for now. Let's climb with a little more power. We are currently at Eluru, crossed Vijayawada.
Vizag Captain 320, climb and maintain flight level 200.
Climb and maintain flight level 200. Visit Captain 320.
We're doing an open climb to our final set cruise altitude as per the flight plan, which is 20,000 feet. So we have a slight tailwind of about 8 knots, and that would be increasing our ground speed a little. Not much of it at the ground speed though, we'll be getting maybe 5-6 knots more than our usual speed due to a tailwind, slight tailwind. Climbing above this small layer of clouds. Let's see how the view from the wing looks like. Pretty good. So we have Tadapalagudam Airport. So that's the Tadapalagudam runway. So we are climbing over Tadapalagudam runway, which is like about 10 miles away. We've reached 18,000 feet, so I'll set the altimeter to standard, which is 2992. So we have reached to our assigned cruise altitude. You can see here we have reached to 19,860 feet climbing. So we're almost at 20,000 feet, and we have a ground speed of 484 knots with 26 knots of tailwind. So getting good speeds. So we're flying over the top of Rajamundry, and on you'll be seeing Godavari River to the left. So we are flying above Godavari, and that's the town of Rajamundry to the left. This is Godavari. Going forward, we have slightly to clear of clouds, but weather radar doesn't pick up anything, so it's safe to assume that they're just normal clouds. They're not CB or any types of dangerous clouds. They don't have any moisture in them, so safe to pass through these clouds without taking any deviations. So we are passing the city of the town of Rajamundry. On the left we can see Rajamundry airfield. We can increase the speed 5 knots maybe. We will be commencing descent into Visakhapatnam shortly. So let's review the weather again before we commence our descent. So we have winds of 8 knots, so that's light winds, almost light winds, and visibility of 5 kilometers. We have haze and we have fog, and we have few clouds at 2,200 feet. With it's very humid in Vizag, with temperature of 34 degrees Celsius. So that would be the weather report. One 1007 14. Let's put those details. QNH would be 101,007, and temperature at Vizag is 34. So change of air traffic control to Kolkata. So temperature at Vizag is 34, and the wind is 140 degrees. 8 knots. Minimum
approach
will be
via D236P
500.
transition, clear to D236P, Vizag Captain 320.
So yeah, we have configured everything.
Vizag Captain 320 descent and maintain 13,000.
So we are commencing a descent into Vizag and
Descend and maintain
currently at
13,000
Pitapuram,
feet, Vizag Captain 320.
commencing a descent. So
Captain 320 descent,
let's
maintain
descend
7,000 feet.
to whatever air traffic control instructs.
Descend and maintain 7,000 feet, Vizag Captain 320.
I hope they don't give us another altitude. Okay, there you go. So we have asked to descend to 4,000 feet and we keep the rate of descent to about 2,500 feet per minute, and let's commence our descent. We have configured everything for the approach. If you see the performance page, we have activate the approach, confirm approach phase. So QNH 1007, temperature of 34 degrees Celsius, wind 140 degrees 8 knots, and the minimum today is 500 feet. So everything is set in the MCDU page, and we'll be doing a flap 3 landing today. So let's set up flap 3 landing as well. I'll turn on the flap mode, I'll turn on the landing flap mode to 3, and I'll go to the performance page and I'll select it as flap 3. So if you see here, it's changed to conf 3, so it's a flap 3 landing. And yeah, we have commenced our descent currently at 16,000 feet. I would be switching to Vizag grounds radio altimeter, which is 2973. Currently at 15,400 feet, descending to 4,000 feet. As you see here, we see the beach to our right side. We catch a little glimpse of that, and so what we're gonna do is, so this is the flight plan to Vizag. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go straight for 36 miles to waypoint Romeo 220, which would be this one, and then we will be taking a right hand turn, following several preset paths. So following several preset paths, and then making slow left hand turns, aligning with ILS 28 at Vizag. So we'll be making an instrument approach here. So the ILS frequency of Vizag is already entered here, which is 111.1. Once we make a series of left hand turns and align towards the runway, we would be intercepting the ILS 28 and then landing the aircraft on ILS 28. Once we land the aircraft on ILS 28, we would be taking a right hand turn and vacating the runway to the taxiway. So this would be our plan of arrival at Vizag. Currently at 11,000 feet, further descending, we're currently at Nakkapalli. As usual, I expect Vizag to be pretty foggy. That's how it stays most of the year, especially in the daytime. So we cannot expect the visibility of more than usually not more than 5 kilometers. So an ILS is always mandatory over here. Once I get the visual of the runway, I can disconnect the autopilot and I can start hand flying. So I expect to get a visual of the runway maybe 3 to 4 kilometers before the threshold of runway 28. So that's how the approach path would be. So currently at Sabavaram at 8,600 feet. I'll turn on the seatbelt sign on back since we are below 10,000 feet and we are preparing for the aircraft for landing.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
Instructed the flight attendants as well to be prepared for landing in Vizag. So yeah, everything is set. And we are going to waypoint Romeo 220 from there, which is 16 more miles away, and then we'll be taking a right hand turn, entering the Bay of Bengal, making a series of left hand turns and aligning with the runway 28 at Vizag. We should face a little turbulence in a while since we have mountainous terrain around Visakhapatnam. So change of radar to Visakhapatnam. We've asked to contact Vizag ATC.
Visakhapatnam approach Vizag Captain 320 is passing 5,000 feet, descending 4,000 feet.
Vizag Captain 320, Visakhapatnam approach altimeter 29.73, continue to D2.
So changing to 2973 Vizag ground radio altimeter. So if you see here, we are reaching the point Romeo 220. So from there we'll be making a right hand turn to waypoint Romeo 206. I'll reduce the speed a little since this is a very steep right hand turn that we have to take, so we might overshoot the waypoint. So we have Achutapuram to the left. It's okay, let's go with the maximum speed possible. So you see that the aircraft is taking a right hand turn as commanded by the autopilot, following our designated flight plan. I'll turn on the ILS. So we are 15.6 miles away from the Vizag airfield. It will take a while because we are not going straight to the airfield. We are taking a semi-circle, semi-arc. So yeah. So we have entered the Bay of Bengal. Current location shows Pedagantiada. We started making series of left-hand turns following the flight plan.
Vizag Captain 320, descend and maintain 3,000 feet.
So coming further down to 3,000
Descend and maintain
feet,
3,000 feet, Vizag Captain 320.
we would maintain 1,600 feet per minute maybe. So yeah, we have reached to 3000 feet as instructed by air traffic control. Cabin is already advised, everything is set, and seatbelt sign is on. So yeah, making a series of left hand turns, completing the semicircle. There are small layers of clouds, very light layer of clouds here and there, but mostly there are no significant clouds at all. So we are at 13.5 miles away from Vizag airfield. So we are about to reach VSP-14 Victor Sierra Papa 14 Vizag 14. That will be our point of interception of ILS. So we'll reduce the speed to further to 200 knots. Since we are about to reach this waypoint Victor Sierra Papa 14 Vizag 14. Once we reach there, we'll start intercepting the ILS for runway 28. So you see that the airspeed is coming down. Pretty foggy there, can't see much. VSP is so coming further down to 2200 feet.
Descend and maintain 2,200 feet. Vizag Captain 320.
We're at 1200 feet per minute. So we see that Vizag VSP-14, that's the waypoint, that's 2.4 miles away, and
2,500.
so 13 miles from touchdown. I'll intercept the ILS. Turn on the approach on to intercept the ILS. So there you see the localizer coming in, and it's time for flaps 1. Almost at Vizag, so I'll close this up so that we can concentrate on the approach. We see beautiful sun on the beach, so let's reduce it further. It's time for flaps 2. And flaps 3. So everything is set. Spoilers are armed. Ground spoilers on. Seatbelt sign on. So we are like 9 miles from touchdown. Very foggy.
Vizag Captain 320, you are 11 miles east of Victor Oscar Victor Zulu. Contact Vizag Tower on
We will be maintaining 142 knots as our final approach speed today.
Tower on 119.7 Vizag Captain 320. Vizag Tower Vizag Captain 320.
Landing it down.
10 miles east inbound ILS runway 28 approach.
Vizag Captain 320, Vizag Tower. Altimeter
we see the glide slope coming in, so we will be automatically commencing our descent.
Vishakhapatnam Tower, Vizag Captain Tree 20 inbound ILS runway 28 approach.
Vizag Captain Tree 20 Vishakhapatnam Tower. Altimeter 29.74 wind 201 Cleared ILS, runway 28 approach.
Vishakhapatnam Tower, Vizag Captain Tree 20 inbound ILS runway 28 approach.
Vizag Captain Tree 20 Vishakhapatnam Tower. Altimeter 29.74 wind 201 Cleared ILS, runway 28 approach.
Cleared ILS runway 28 approach, Vizag Captain Tree 20.
Vizag Captain Tree 20 wind 201
Oh, we are over the beach.
Cleared to land runway 28, Vizag
On the
Captain
right
Tree
we'll have
20.
Kailashgiri, but it's very foggy, cannot see anything. I'm waiting for the visual contact with the runway.
1,000.
1000 feet is checked.
1,000.
Very foggy here, very foggy today. Almost at 800 feet, still don't have a clue of the runway.
Hundred above.
Checked.
Minimum 500.
Continue. I have a slight visual of the runway, but it's not enough to take a manual
400.
control.
$300.
Disconnecting the autopilot, taking manual controls.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
Spoilers. Reverse green. Diesel. Manual braking.